Hello, welcome to part 4 of my Canon rock tutorial. This week we're going to start going over the second verse. And so I'm going to play what we're going over today. The lead-in lick that starts the whole verse, we covered it last week. I'll just do a quick refresher. Starts at the 14th fret of the D string and goes up to the 16th fret and the 17th fret. Then it goes up to the G string, to the 14th fret, to the 16th fret, to the 18th fret. It's going to do that twice. And then you're going to go up to the 14th fret of the B string, to the 15, 17. And those are triplets, all picked, all hammer on. Whatever's comfortable for you. Now from that last 17, you're gonna bend it up for a whole note to start the second verse off. Then release the bend and hit just the 17th fret and slide off that after about a half note. And what you're gonna notice is this first part of the verse is the exact same as the first verse. And so, continuing on, slide into the 15th fret of the B string for a little longer than a half note. Then you're going to bend up for about a quarter note and release the bend for an eighth note. So, then you're going to land on the 14th fret of the B string. You're going to play a half note. Now, two quarter notes. You're going to hit the 14th fret of the G string and the 12th fret of the D string. Now for again a little longer than a half note, you're going to bend up the 14th fret of the G string a whole step so that it sounds like the 16th fret. Now release that bend and pick again at the 14th fret of the G string for a quarter note. Then an eighth note, hit the 12th fret of the G string. So far we've got. And now here you're going to do a quarter note at the 14th fret of the G string, then a quarter note at the 15th fret of the B string. You're going to land at a half note at the 11th fret of the G string. So you'll notice all that is nearly identical to the first verse, the first part of the first verse. Now this is where it changes, and it changed a lot. It starts to gets a little shreddy. So you're going to go to the 12th fret of the G string, and you're gonna tremolo pick. I like to do 16th notes. This tempo is pretty fast, so I just try and get consistent 16th notes. So then you're gonna go up to the 12th fret of the. You're gonna play 4 of them, by the way, just for one beat of strumming, essentially. Then you're gonna do the same thing at the 12th fret of the B string, and then the 14th fret of the B string, and then the 15th fret. So. Starting the measure before, you got a little slow. You got, and so you're just tremolo picking all those notes, and then the next measure, it's a whole alternate picked run, or alternate picked for the most part. So this run, it's gonna be all 16th notes. It's gonna start at the 14th fret of the B string. 14, 15, 17. I actually cheat a little bit. I do economy picking when I do this. I down pick the 17th fret of the B string. Then I also down pick the 14th fret of the E string, which is the next note. And so then you're going to go up and down the scale there. You're going to go 14, 15, 17, 15, 14, all on the E string. And then you're going to come back down to the B string and go 17, 15, 14. Then you're going to go down to the G string, you hit the 16th fret. And then here you're going to kind of add a few extra notes. It's a little faster than 16th notes, but you just have to hit all the notes. You don't have to think too much about how many of them there are, just kind of hit them all. You're going to go down to the 14th fret of the G string, back up to the 16th fret. Then you're going to hit 14, 15, 17 on the B string, and then the whole section ends when you're going to pick the 17th fret of the B string again and bend it up. And so that little section slowly, the fast measures, are going to sound like this. And so that's just something you're going to need to work up, probably with the metronome. And for the sake of metronome work, I would recommend, like I said earlier, doing 16th notes on that rising tremolo part, just so you have something that you're working for and your pick is downstroking on the beats so you know where it's at. All right, so moving on. You can pause the video and practice that. Practice it after the video. That one might take some practice. And so moving on. We ended with the bend on the 17th fret of the B string. And now some people play this as a tap note. I play it as like a classic bend, double stop kind of thing. You can go. And so what you're doing is you're just bending up. And while the note is still bent, with my pinky I'm hitting the 17th fret of the B string. And then I'm picking right before I release the bend. And then I'm playing a half note, and that's a half note at the 17th fret of the B string. And the way that I've also seen this done is you tap that high note on the B string, which is the 22nd fret. So, and you just gotta work around with where you're tapping so that it's in tune. And so people do it that way too. I don't practice it that way at all, so as you can tell, it wasn't really in tune. But if that's something you'd rather do, it's pretty cool when you're playing the song to use your other hand. And so, but yeah. And so that's for a half note. And then for 2 quarter notes, you're gonna go 15, 14, also on the B string. And you're gonna land again a little longer than a half note, 15th fret of the B string, and you're gonna bend that up for like a quarter note, release the bend for about an 8th note. So, and so then I ended there as a quarter note on the 14th fret of the B string. Then I'm gonna do 14th fret of the E string, and then also quarter note, and then hit land on the 17th fret of the E string for a half note. And so you're gonna notice that second half of that part of the verse also very similar to that same spot in the first verse, if you're trying to figure out what's going on. So then that little section is going to be. Now the next measure is the same as the first verse again. It's all quarter notes. 19th fret of the E string, 17, 15, back up to 19. Now another quarter note on the 17th fret of the E string, up to 21 for another quarter note, and you're going to bend it up a half step to sound like the 22nd fret for a half note. So this next section, it's another sweep section part, and it's only 3 string sweep, so it's a little bit easier, and it's got a repeatable pattern. So if you want to do it with a metronome to just get your sweep picking in general better, you can use these patterns. And so the first pattern is 16th notes, and it's going to start at the 19th fret of the E string, pull off to the 15th fret, upstroke the 15th fret of the B string, and the 16th fret of the G string. Then you're going to go back up, downstroke the 15th fret of the B string, and the 15th fret of the E string, upstroke the 19th fret of the E string, and pull back off to the 15th fret of the E string. Now, if you already know how to sweep pick, or you already have learned this, or you're practicing a certain way, if you do the pull off, upstroke, and then you start on a downstroke on the last string, whatever way you've learned to sweep pick, do it your way, but this is the way I do it, so I'm going to teach you the picking patterns that I'm doing. And so that's what we're left with, that pattern. And you can do this on any sweep pattern or any sweep position. So if you want to learn this sweep pattern, but you can't do this shape yet, you can do any of the other shapes. A minor, in the and so the pattern works to just loop in any shape, any position. You can practice it anywhere. In fact, if you look ahead to the solo section, you're gonna have to do it in other shapes. But this is just something that you can use, put it in a metronome, and work it up, and eventually you'll be able to get the exact thing that's in the song. And so it just does that pattern twice. It's one measure, and then it moves on to an A arpeggio, starting at the 21st fret of the E string. Pull off to the 17th fret, upstroke on the 17th fret of the B string, and upstroke on the 18th fret of the G string, and that's the whole pattern. So you're going to do that twice. And you're going to slide down to a half note at the 9th fret of the G string. And so with that pattern, it's also practicable with the metronome. You can do it anywhere with any shape. And so it's just 16th notes, and you can do it anywhere. In minor. And so I could use to practice that a little bit, but I'm just showing you, you can do that anywhere with any shape. You can do weird shape. You can do diminished, you could do, possibilities are endless. And you can work that up with the metronome, work out a whole bunch of different shapes, and you can still end up learning the song once you get it fast enough. And so that's the whole section I'm going to go over today. And so I'll play the whole thing slowly. So I hope you learned something. Hope you're getting the song down to this point. I'll be doing these videos every other week now, and so they'll be coming more frequently than every month. And yeah, hope you guys enjoying. Thank you.